right?
Yeah. Okay, now go up to the top. Okay, now keep your right glute anchored on that anchor line and rotate your left hip. Good. Now go ahead and move into impact.
I mean, it pulls the club down still in that loaded position better.
Yeah. Do that one more time. Go up to the top. Right hip back on the anchor line. Keep it there. Rotate your left hip. Good. Now just let your right wrist unhinge and your right arm straighten into impact. Okay. And you see how your right foot stayed down longer than normal?
Yeah.
Although that's something I want you to learn how to release. That's why they noticed that Hogan's foot stayed down longer than normal, or Tiger's foot at times stays down longer than normal when you make that move. Now, do that one more time. Go up to the top. Okay, rotate on the anchor line. Okay, now, at that point, your hands have more room to come in than your knees do. It'll be more natural. Okay, now go ahead, just let your wrist unhinge. Okay, so you threw it and your arms move. Go back to that position. Okay, now only unhinge. Your left, there you go. Now post up and let your sternum come up. There you go. Now look how you're rotating left. Now get your right heel up off the ground and go all the way to the finish. Look how much more left you rotate in the finish when you do that.
See, that's the thing. That's one thing I noticed, and we've talked about that. Is the difference on how far around I can get on when I make the right move versus
That's right.
a lot more of that slide. When I slide, I mean, I'm lucky if I can get my hips to the target.
That's exactly right.
Well, and then too, you know, with that slide move though, since you're not getting back, you're not restoring, I have to worry a lot more about the early release.
Oh, well, you have to release to get to the ball because you're stuck.
And then
You're going to feel like you're trying to rotate left and almost your fall through is swinging left up the incline plane. And people think it's going to go more left, and what ends up happening, it goes more right.
That's what that one did. That one went way out right, but yet I was way around.
Yeah. So your fear of going left and rotating left and releasing the left will start to go away.
Yeah.
You'll feel like you got to do more of your fear.
That's where I haven't been able to use the hallways like we've talked
that's
about.
right. So go up to the top again. Good. Now keep your right glute on that anchor line. Rotate your left hip. Good. The arms drop in low and close to where you feel like instead of holding them out, they're strong. Then you unhinge and you go up and around. Good. The more of that feeling of rotating on the anchor line you can get, you know, the more room you're going to have, the more you're going to feel like you're swinging from the inside, and you got to swing back to the inside. Otherwise, you're going to send it way right. It comes from the inside down the inclined plane. If it fails to arc inside on the way through, you're going to send it right. Yeah. I mean, it's on an arc. You're either coming down the plane and you're arcing, or you're coming down the plane and you're trying to go through in a straight line, which will keep going inside out. I mean, we're trying to have an orbital effect in here. Although there is an inline attitude to the swing, and there are, you know, there's multiple rotating centers and all this. This isn't a simple ball on a string, you know, rotating around and around idea. There is an orbital effect that we're trying to accomplish. So we do want it to come from the inside and go back to the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big thing, noticing at the top in your transition, does your right hip start to move back to its original position, or does it stay in the position you rotated it to up at the top?
It feels like I'm trying to hold that.
You got to hold it.
And then let everything else move around it.
Good. And I think that's why Hogan talked about his clearing, even though he was a right clear guy. I think he talked about his clearing as if that elastic band was attached to his hip and it snapped back, pulling that left hip around. Because he got that right hip in a good position, and that right hip stayed glued back there, and it went deeper into the wall, if anything, instead of coming off the wall.
I think as I've tried to address this issue in the past, I've always tried to focus on the left hip going more back and around.
Yeah.
And that right there, you can see that
it's throwing the hip backwards. Yeah. And there are swings that are more orbital with the hips in the fact that they rotate more symmetrically. They start, they return, and then they go through, you know. But, you know, again, we're talking about techniques here, and there's as many techniques as there are people out there playing the game. So we got to find a technique that works for you. And clearly, rotating on the anchor line looks like it gets you in the positions you want to be in compared to, you know, trying to spin your hips in a centered manner.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of front anchor golfers do really good. Front anchor golfers, especially with rotating on the anchor line. Center anchor golfers do good with rotating on the anchor line. Right anchor golfers can do it, or rear anchor golfers. However, it looks more conventional when they do it. And, you know, it doesn't look as dramatic as what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Okay.